Chris going to try and get this counter pick down onto Kyle on the Leona. Alistair is such a pivotal support champion pick. I think one of the most important ones in the LPL.
On that minimap, Flandre looking to try and catch this wave, but Kyle's here, Hope's here. Maybe 369 gets a little bit caught out.
Here we go. Flandre flashes forward. He picked this Ornn against TES months ago, and he's looking to fight with it into the Rumble. 369 flashes and dies for the first kill of this series. And how it plays into the new grub timer and such as well. Right now, Kanavi trying to solo sneak his way through that dragon, but I'm actually surprised that Pink Ward didn't pick up the ward by AL. Is Cream forcing Shanks to flash away with just one use of the Between Worlds. Kanavi comes off the dragon, immediate snap engage from Chris, goes down, but Kyle holds Kanavi in place, so Tarzan gets some safety. Cream is out of mana, but Kyle is out of dashes to get back to safety. He falls, but in comes Flandre with the Ornn Horn, hits onto two. Tarzan goes into the untargetable, but the shield bails out Kanavi, sneaks away with a sliver of help, but no! Tarzan gets the kill through the pack?
Let's say. And I think that his performance so far in 2025 has been very, very impressive. He's now got the burden of being the late game hypercarry for his team on this Azir. And if they can get to that late game, if they can get to those 5-6 items and reach it at parity, Shanks is the one who's going to do the most damage. He's the one who's got that playmaking capability with the Azir as well. So
look at that Leandries and the push and pull showing itself on the Rift here as topside and reset timers open up TES to take that dragon for free. So we split both of the opening dragons. That's got to feel good for top esports, knowing that they have control of the grubs from a couple minutes ago. Ultimate won't be down for as long as it usually feels like, and AL are once again using their side lane, the opposite side of the play there for TES on that tier 1 turret to find their own advantages. So they use Shanks' prio in top lane to try and get this Rift Herald for free here. I think with that Blast Cone going down, it will be secured.
And there we go then. Like, this is such a back and forth game, such a trade of minuscule proportions, I think. Rift Herald going down. This is on a ward.
Yep, Chains of Corruption comes across. Kyle trying to chain the CC together. Does it perfectly. There was nothing Chris could do. That guy didn't move the entire time. He just blinked back to a gray screen. And now the gates start to open up a bit more.
Exactly, now the floodgates start to open. That Herald gets placed. The mid-tier 1 is going to be the focus. It's going to get taken down. And with no support, it's a very real world that they look for something on the bot side here as top esports are looking.
Yep, Flandre completely surrounded, has his flash. If he wants to buy space, gets away from the first slow, but 369 follows him. Up further, up creek here, TS are trying to force their fight with the flank manifesting. 369 finds that pick, and now Tarzan, Hope, and Kyle have a lot less angles to get out, and Kanavi is sniffing for a kill. Kyle gets found out. Hope has to flash away from Chris, but here comes the curtain call. You don't need the damage, you just need the slows. Double stun from Chris. 4th shot sinks through, but Kanavi is completely burned through. Tarzan finds the first kill. He's got all the pack with him, but he can't get onto Chris until he jumps back forward, finds himself another reset. Tarzan is certainly going to make it costly for him to drop, but TES play the map well enough and open up the map in their favor.
Forward here, and Kanavi as well. They just tank so much damage. It's good from Hope and Tarzan that they're not just running away. They're pumping out DPS on their way out. And if that Q would have landed, maybe it would have been fine, but Shanks finding a kill, it seems, on live.
That scaling threat, Flandre delivers on the dive. That's another turret down, and like you talked about, as much of a win as that was for top esports in the kills.
So he's so close to being strong, and you can see denying these creeps, denying this experience as well. He's doing everything he can to choke out the side lanes for the Forge God.
Flandre trying to team up with Tarzan.
And Flandre now has been targeted by 4 people at top esports, but there are reinforcements on their way.
No flash, nor Ornn Horn. Flandre, how much time can you buy becomes the question. He's surviving a pretty long time. Nobody wanted to commit to find the kill, and they left Kanavi. They hung him out to dry under the turret. First kill found. Tarzan gets a reset, but doesn't want to push his advantage too far here. Here comes the equalizer down. 369 on the flank. Curtain call. So much damage getting compacted as they try to find Tarzan. Kyle takes the last 4th shot, and boy, was that a great sacrifice because 369's the trade. Now Hope steps up, but Cream's already half HP. These arrows are about to start hurting if they land. But Tarzan's trying to slip out. Look who's on the hunt. It's JackieLove flashing after him. Smells blood in the water, and he sinks it home with a crit shot. That's the difference you get from JackieLove.
He just flashes over the wall, headshots Tarzan, sends him back to the grey screen to these fights. If this is a mammoth farming effort from Shanks for him to do nothing in these team fights, then trust me, anyone's legend, they're going to be fuming about it. But if he can turn up to these team fights and start manifesting great successes.
As a player on this Azir, and now put in a position to carry. You put it so well, dude. If this is an AL loss, a lot of the questions are going to come Shanks' way about how he played these fights out. And if it's a win, boy, are we singing the praises of a guy who we're also looking for him to find some consistency, kind of like Cream has in these recent games for TES.
The Atacon immediately started. Tarzan and Hope, the two doing this. Shanks, you can see just off on his top side. Here comes the ulti.
Yep, first fight with Shanks. How does this look? He tries to fly in with the Emperor's Divide, but
Kanavi's
immediately just pops Kanavi. There's the Shanks difference. There's the 2-item Azir difference. And now TES are scrambling to find some way back in towards this Atacon, who, by the way, is doing a fair share of damage on the back end, just churning through AL's health bars, and now they're completely scattered. There's Jacula fighting the big shot onto Kael. Atacon resets. AL are way too hurt to try and continue to push this fight, as juggling Atacon aggro might have burned them.
More so that it's Crisp and Kael who are starting these fights and dictating what happens and when.
You just spotted that. Shanks gets a decent chunk onto Kanavi with one Sand Soldier. Kanavi's down to half HP. That's enough. TES call off the Dragon Stop. And AL, while it is a Cloud Soul, it's not everybody's fan favorite. They are on Soul Point in 5 minutes if they can find it. This TES have allowed AL to try and entrap them, try to circle them out. It's Kael that you have to watch on to try and start this fight. Solar Flare Zenith Blade forward, or is it the Oran Horn from Flandra? Finally, the floodgates may open as TES are backed off the Atacon. A 50-50 may be coming in, but there goes Kael, secured by Tarzan. They get the Atacon. Shanks stasis the crash down from Chris. Can Shanks get back out to safety? No, Kanavi's following after him. How much value does Shanks get? Absolutely nothing. 369, though, does not survive Tarzan's rampage, but anyone's legend just cannot fight without Shanks. TES's target selection reigns supreme.
Jackie and Kanavi are going to walk towards the Baron. Cream will take a pit stop at the tier 1 turret, and all of that hard work, all of the gold that Shanks had funneled into him, comes home for nothing.
While a Jhin Baron take is slow, there's no one to stop him. He'll survive that pick play, though. He has the rest of his team pretty far up, so no scare there, just a little bit of a fright. TES going to set their sights back on a tier 2 turn and just continue farming gold off this Baron.
Back in their favor, the momentum in favor of Top Esports as they've just taken a ring of turrets away from them, and now Top Esports closing in.
They're walking into 369's trap, throws down the equalizer, but he's a little too far forward on his own, but they find the kill into Hope. They commit a ton of ultimates, not towards Shanks this time, but towards the AD carry. Can Shanks step up and push the damage with the Sand Soldiers? Look at the Emperor's Divide, throws on to Kanavi. He gets out, and Tarzan is soloed out by Jacula, barely able to survive. Kanavi uses the GA to buy more time for Cream, who nearly eviscerates Kael, but Shanks flies in with the army behind him. Jacula can't step up to try and decide this fight. AL bide their time and grit out a gnarly fight win.
Shanks leading the charge for AL. It was Crisp with a rare whiff there on the railing gate, and they might look for him now.
Shanks, no! He goes into the stasis, gets away from the deadly flourish. Jacula about half HP, but Shanks flies in. Can the crit shot come? No! The bell has not been rung, and Shanks is going to cash in a double that sets up Cloud Soul for anyone's legends.
AL reap what they sow. They gave the gold to Shanks, and finally he comes home to harvest. The bot lane of Top Esports have no chance of fighting him, and they just barely can't make it work. Anyone's legend. They find the soul now, and they can move into the rest of this game, knowing that all that time, all that effort that they put into Shanks will pay off. But it's not really about that gold anymore. We're at the stage in the game where it's about momentum. It's about who feels confident to step forward and take these fights as Tarzan hops straight onto Cream.
Oh, they're going all out. Look at it. Shanks fly in. Cream is completely cooked. Shanks' Azir does not disappoint and blows TES out of the water. What a pick to find. Guaranteeing Baron now swings back into the hands of AL.
May have just secured them. Maybe not the game in this instance. Maybe it is just the Baron, and I'm getting too far ahead of myself. But 5v2 on the map. AL get the Baron. Tarzan finding one half. Shanks finds the other. This game number 1, once again, this heavyweight matchup of 2025. The best two teams of the LPL period for this year continue to deliver.
And some of the plagues, the shortcomings of TES in these single games really starting to hurt them again. They've been known to throw gold leads Kanavi's been able to bail them out of some of the bigger games, but this is Anyone's Legends we're talking about. They're just a different level, potentially one that could contend with TES as we continue to talk about the future of this LPL split to worry about. And that cannon minion, Baroned up, is trying to do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, Crisp is down 5 levels on Hope. He takes 1 piercing arrow and loses a third of his HP. Has to go back to base. With the wave finally coming in.
Oh, Jackie Love gets hit with the solar flare. That's cleanse out of Jackie Love, so a little less space for this Jhin.
That's 2 ultis down.
They'll have to be careful. They've lost some of their key engage ultimates. Maybe don't want to overpush. This is exactly what TS want to do in the wheelhouse, but again, Hope hits another huge arrow.
That we talked about for Flandre, for Kael. They're back up and ready, and now 369, what are you doing?
You're completely out of your element. You're way too far up. That is free pickings for AL.
Anyway, without the equalizer, without the curtain call, but now without a member, it gets even harder.
And they're going after Kanavi. He gets knocked up. Kael finds that pick. The GA is only going to bide him some mere seconds as he watches his fate be sealed. The cease and desist is a marginal play. Kanavi falls. AL will turn back towards the Elder, but they might be able to just take this thing mid lane and win the whole game.
With 45 seconds on Kanavi, what is the choice? What do AL opt into? Nobody's recalling.
We're
walking down mid lane. It's the final charge.
AL are playing with a vengeance, and they want to finish this thing now. But TS have bought enough time for Kanavi to return.
Yeah, they have no Baron, though. They have no waves that they can't easily be cleared out. Piercing arrows from Hope, buying so much space. Cream and Jackie Love doing what they can to wave clear. Equalizer ready and available as well.
The big beast TS are backed into a corner. There's only one way through to try and fight, but Cream's already at about half HP. Shanks is getting a ton of damage through. Kael goes in, and Equalizer does nothing. Shanks' damage is just ludicrous, and AL bring the boom and knock TS down in this series with Elder to sing it home. It was topsy-turvy, but Anyone's Legends were up for the task, and they are going to repeat the last series, go up 1-0 over Top Esports.
These were some of the best highlights from today's matchup. Which moment was your favorite? Let me know in the comment section below. This is OP, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.